Hi, host Eric here with Mega Bro in attendance, the Mega Bro himself. And he's talking about something that's interesting to him right now, which is positive and negative cognitive functions or manifestations of cognitive
Yeah.
functions, or give us a little explanation on that.
Well, I first started thinking about positive and negative cognitive functions after reading about cybernetics. But I actually see that socionics has a concept of positive and negative cognitive functions. So they are, I don't know if they got this from cybernetics or something else, but their interpretation of it is almost the same as mine.
Is
So
is
I've actually been,
cybernetics is cybernetics the what's it called, Scientology thing?
no, cybernetics is the process of having positive or negative feedback loops.
Oh, okay.
A positive feedback loop is kind of like AF in debate, and a negative feedback is kind of like neg in debate.
So, I mean, positive and negative feedback loops are something I think about a lot, but I refer to it as stuff that gathers momentum and stuff that washes out. Right?
Right,
Yeah, that's how I think of
right.
them. Like the thing is, a lot of times people argue over shit that washes out, and it annoys me. It's like it doesn't fucking matter. That part washes out. You got to argue over the parts that that carry their own momentum and build it up. Because those are the ones that are dangerous. Those are the ones that have impact.
So a positive feedback loop, if there's a if there's a deviation from the normal, the positive feedback loop amplifies the deviation until it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right.
And a negative feedback loop, if there's a deviation from normal, the feedback loop reduces the deviation and tries to return back to normal.
Yeah, that's hugely important. I agree. I'm glad you're obsessing about that too, because this is the thing. The way I fixate on it, though, is say that second one, the negative feedback loop, it washes out. So why are we arguing about it? It's like it washes out in the end. It's like it just fixes itself. Um, and what a lot of people argue about details like that. You know, that's why I'm saying with a negative rights framework, you can structure things so that the justifications for harms wash out, so that they don't generalize up and outward, but instead apply to individual instances only. Like it matters where precedent applies. Is precedent the guiding engine behind legal interpretation? If so, then what has precedent matters a great deal. And so, sort of my basic contention is, in order to make sure that uh, the wrong kind, in order to make sure that the most dangerous ideas have the least actual danger, we need to make it so that the utilitarian justifications wash out rather than have precedent, and the rights protecting justifications have precedent rather than wash out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. You look at it, obviously from more of a correct perspective. From me, it's interesting to think about it, to make the connection that this is positive and negative feedback loops I'm talking about. Because when I'm talking about it, I've yet to actually have a really good description of what it is I'm talking about. I try to explain this to people and say, like, no, but it doesn't matter because that part washes out, and they don't really understand what I mean. So I'll try using this term from now on, I guess, positive and negative feedback
Well,
loops.
I'm still not 100% sure that I'm understanding you correctly, but it sounds right, I guess.
Well, okay, let me clarify. In the status quo, if the court says, oh, well, this is a legal search, then they have to make a distinction. Either they make a distinction or appeal the precedent to do so. Now, they can either say, well, I know the Constitution says blah, 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 but we are making an exception in this instance because this kind of situation is different and it doesn't apply. The Constitution doesn't apply in this kind of situation, right? And so if you want to prevent a horrible miscarriage of justice, let's say you've got a kidnapper who's got a child in the car that he's kidnapped and is taking the child to commit horrible acts upon her. Well, then you've got a situation where the cop wants to pull the person over, but they don't ever commit any sort of traffic violation. Then the Supreme Court makes this circumstance, the exigent circumstances. It doesn't matter. The Constitution doesn't apply there. But what I'm saying is this. The problem with that is it sets precedent. And now that's how it's always interpreted in every situation that's similar to that. And it sets rules for exceptions. Instead, it should be the other way around. You say, we're going to make an individual exception for this situation because it's unique and freaky. And so we're going to make an exception here. But it doesn't change the rule. The rule still applies in general. We're going to make an exception in this one instance. Why? Not because this instance fits some sort of paradigm that is sensibly excluded from the Constitution, but rather because this individual instance, the Constitution inadequately addresses. Now, this is a very tricky line to walk. Either way, you're fucked, kind of, right? But my point is, if you're fucked the way I'm talking about, which means basically promote jury nullification, stuff like that,
Right.
then
At least
it washes out. It washes out.
At least the deviations are on a small scale instead of systemic.
Right, exactly. Then it's like jury nullification, if it's wrong, well, it doesn't set precedent. And that's why I think the system needs jury nullification to work properly and should encourage jury nullification. It should be in the judge's instructions at the beginning of the case. The jurors must vote their conscience about what they think is ethically correct, regardless of what the law says.
Right. I mean, what's the point of having a jury of all these people and one of them could let you off if that's not why they were there, you know?
Right. Well, and it occurs. Jury nullification occurs to this day all the time. It occurred when I was on a jury. We nullified, but the thing is, none of us said we were nullifying because we all got the little rule thing that they got going on there. You know, none of us said it, and everybody in the room came up with bullshit reasons as to why they were gonna. And I guided the room towards the least bullshitty reason to quit, because I was the foreman. But the real reason to acquit was no harm, no foul. You were drunk, you were pestering the guy, yeah, he hit you with a squeegee, but no, we're not going to find him guilty of all these fucking crimes. Because it was like two drunken guys, like a drunken guy harassing this black security guard guy, and finally the black security guard guy got mad and hit him with a plastic squeegee, right? Like a 99-cent store squeegee. It was in a bunch of pieces. They showed it to us in the bag. It was already broken into a bunch of pieces. Somebody stepped on it or something.
Just wasting everyone's time.
And they fucking charged him with simple assault. And then after he did that and he tried to, the security guard tried to drive away, the guy was like, hey, you hit me with a squeegee, the drunk guy. And he got behind the guy's car and was trying to take pictures of the license plate and stuff. Successfully did so. And he wouldn't move out from behind the car, wouldn't let him back out. And so the guy finally got out and squirted him with pepper spray. Or tried to squirt him, and accidentally, his friend came in right at the last second, and the friend got the face full of pepper spray instead of the guy. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is they charged him with felony assault with a tear gas weapon. And so we acquitted on everything, including simple assault. The prosecutor was hoping to give us a laundry list of possible charges to choose from and to choose the simple assault. But we acquitted on all grounds. I sort of guided the jury to buying the self-defense claim by the defense, even though it was ridiculous. There was no need for there was no self-defense. But it was like, that dude who got hit by a squeegee had it fucking coming. That's what it boils down to. He had it coming. He was harassing the guy for no reason. It was the middle of the night in downtown LA. The guy's trying to get fucking stuff at a gas station, like cigarettes or something, and this drunk guy comes up and starts harassing him and followed him to his car and stuff. and he eventually gets hit with this plastic squeegee. Well, I mean, no, I'm not going to
and
find the
then
guy who
he
hit you with guilty of a crime.
and then he tries to use the court to, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I get it, dude. I get that you are technically in the right, that he shouldn't have hit you with a squeegee, but you're fucking 20 years old or 21 years old or something. You were obviously drunk, although they said on the stand that they weren't drunk. They're like, oh, I was there for 6 hours at the bar. I had one drink. Uh huh. Yeah, sure you did. Me did. Anyway, the point is, juries nullify, but they just have to lie about it. They should just be able to nullify and say what their actual reasoning is.
Yeah. Oh, back on the topic of positive and negative, um, I'm almost done with some video lists of those applied to cognitive functions. Um,
What do you mean?
I figured out what minus NE is.
What's that?
It's like satire.
Negative NE is satire?
But it ends up resulting in it. It's like you you see ways things could be linked, and you poke fun at how stupid one of the links is,
Hmm. Right.
and it ends up turning into satire.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, that makes sense. Seeing, see, I mean, it's weird to call it negative and positive. I wish we have um, a less loaded words for it because, see, I don't see satire as
I
being bad in any sense, and yeah, that's sort of the
I'm not
inclination here.
saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's part of a negative feedback loop. It,
Okay, so how is it that negative NE produces satire as a negative feedback loop that sort of, well, I guess that washes out because it it turns away absurdity and it's specific so that it
yeah,
doesn't generalize out,
it
right?
it defeats specific absurdity. Now,
Uh,
positive NE does all sorts of random crap and makes everything weird.
like what? What does it do, you think?
Oh, I normally have been looking at the visual NE stuff. I haven't been going for the auditory.
Mm.
Uh,
Do you consider this media visual or auditory?
this is auditory.
Right, I agree. Even though you can see me, it's auditory media, right? It's language. So, um, I mean, because this is really the only meaningful way in which I understand NE. Visual NE seems to me, I mean, I hate to say it, but it just seems pointless. Like, I get the idea of it, but I guess it's just because I'm just not a visual person at all. I'm sure it wouldn't seem pointless to me if I were visual, uh, you know. But it seems pointless because, like, well, what do you do
Uh,
with that? Shit.
if
What
you want to
happened?
see, if you want to see visual positive NE, look at my plus NE playlist.
Okay, I will. Um, does it make you happy to watch, or do you think this is weird, or what do you
I'm
think
just
about it?
laughing. I'm just laughing.
Uh,
Uh,
I mean, but I'm saying, how do you feel about it in general? How do you feel about visual NE as an INTJ? You're not naturally um, any big, you know. So, how do you feel about it when you watch those videos? Do you find them entertaining, or is it more just for data gathering?
both.
Do you
I
find that you
combine the two.
do you find that you generally prefer NI media or NE media? NE heavy or NI heavy media?
Well, I actually probably. You see, I wouldn't say either of those things are the top two things I go for. But between the two, I probably more towards the NE.
And I go more towards the NI, for sure. I'm drawn to NI stuff and media. I try to emulate it, as best I can. I seek it. It's the holy grail. But what? So you say you don't prioritize either NE or NI. So which one do you prioritize? FE or FI or I mean, can the media have FI as be its focus?
Yes, it can. The thing is, artists try to represent FI in their art for the most part.
That's where my FI comes in.
FI is metaphysical in this. FI is metaphysical in the same way TI is, and so it needs to be created. It needs to be given a symbolic form.
Right. Well, I understand that my FI comes through in my music all the time. That's where I live. That's where my feelings live. When I listen to music, I feel things. When I make music, I feel things. Um, but I don't think that that's what's motivating it, or I don't see it as FI driven. I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe I'm wrong about that. I see it. I see the FI components as NI things, basically. What is that? Is that my phone? Right? Where is it? Oh, it's over here. Hold on. Thanks for watching Talking Spanish People. That brings this episode to a close.